Hey everybody. Now, moving on to our next speaker, we have the privilege from hearing from an exceptional individual who has dedicated his life to empowering the next generation through education. So our next keynote is entitled, Building a School Community That Inspires the Creativity and Vigor of Kenyan Youth. Now, our speaker, James, will share his invaluable experiences and insights on creating vibrant educational environments. His dedication to empowering young minds in Kenya through inclusive and vibrant educational communities offers a blueprint for nurturing creativity and passion across the globe. So, let's give James P. Cummings a big welcome to the stage, founder and president of Kijana Educational Empowerment Institute. Welcome to the stage. Let's put our hands together for James.
Hello. It's really good to be here. I spoke at the December 22 conference here, and it's great to be back. I love Dubai, I love this conference, the global spirit. It's invigorating and refreshing at hearing all the different voices. So I just wanted to say that. Secondly, 1,000 years ago, the Indian Ocean Trade Network was the central global trade network, and East Africa was a central component of that. The Swahili coast had vibrant, prosperous cities, and there was trade that went from East Africa to this region, to India, to China, and back and forth. And what I'd like to think we're doing is restoring on a small scale the ability of East Africans to play that classic and traditional role that they did. In 2040, I think it's estimated that 40% of the young people in the world will be Africans. 40% of the young people in the world in 16 years will be Africans. So Africa needs to be included, and it's extraordinarily important. How do I push? Oh, I got it. Okay. And starting out, I have a few questions here. What's the purpose of education? What do we seek to accomplish as educators? I heard it said once, nobody went into teaching to get a student to do better on standardized tests. I hope that's true. I agree with that. So if that's the case, why did we go into education? Or what do we want students to achieve, accomplish, and learn? Or what skill sets do we want them to acquire? And what values do we espouse and do we want our students to acquire? C.S. Lewis said, education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a more clever devil. Going back further, Aristotle remarked, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. St. Francis of Assisi said, he who works with his hands is a laborer. He who works with his hands and his head is a craftsman. He who works with his hands and his head and his heart is an artist. I would suggest that a few lost elements in education are virtues and values. In his book, Courage is Calling, and Ryan Holiday writes of the 4 cardinal virtues, the touchstones of goodness, as Marcus Aurelius called them: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. And Ryan Holiday, by the way, is a favorite author of mine these days, and I recommend checking out his books. He's got several books all about Stoicism. And Stoicism, I think, is something that we can bring back to our classrooms. He quotes Aristotle by saying, "We become builders by building, and we become harpists by playing the harp." Similarly, we become just by doing just actions, temperate by doing temperate actions, brave by doing brave actions. Holiday adds, virtue is something we do. It's something we choose. It's a daily challenge, one we face not once but constantly, repeatedly. Will we be selfish or selfless, brave or afraid, strong or weak, wise or stupid? Will we cultivate a good habit or a bad one, courage or cowardice, the bliss of ignorance or the challenge of a new idea, stay the same or grow, the easy way or the right way? Being virtuous is head and heart connected. It's a holistic vision. David Brooks, another favorite author of mine, has a new book out, How to Know a Person. He divides his book into 3 parts. See you in your struggles, see you in your strengths. What a wonderful way to think about education as well. And I think this is a good framework to reflect upon how to remodel education or strengthen education. We need to see our students, see them in their struggles, see them in their strengths. We need to find the strengths in each student. And as a globalist, I believe we need to seek to find the strength and beauty in each part of the world and in each culture. Brooks has a chapter entitled Illumination. He contends that an illuminator incorporates the following qualities in seeing others deeply and with respect. They are tenderness, receptivity, active curiosity, affection, generosity, and a holistic attitude. Again, I think that's a wonderful framework to think as educators. In 2022, when I talked here, I started out the talk with this question. I saw on Instagram somewhere, it said, "You are where you dreamed you would be 5 years ago." And I thought back 5 years before that, where I was and where I was at that time. And 5 years before that, I was teaching school. In December 2022, we had this school. So if I go back 5 years again at this point, I was teaching school in South Florida at that time. Now we have this beautiful school, a vibrant school. So I think about the last 5 years of my life and what we've accomplished, and I'm proud. So I suggest again that we think forward, where do we want to be as individuals and as teams 5 years from now? So how did I get to this point in my life and here at this conference today? Where we are today, again, 5 years ago I was in a classroom teaching. Now we have a school, we have a functioning school with 209 students. We have buildings, we have books, we have visitors, we have technology, we have teachers, we have donor base, we have creative explorations, and much more. How has this happened? I built on relationships developed over 40 years in multiple institutions and allowing my vision to evolve. I've been patient with myself at times, I try to be, and with others. Patience is an extraordinarily important value. I've incorporated my learning ecosystem from family, friends, academic experiences, travel experiences. I've traveled in, I think, 60 countries now. School teaching experiences, former students have been part of our team, many of them. Reading books, magazines, local community connections. I've been a longtime member, a couple decades of several Kiwanis clubs in Palm Beach County. Local, global community connections, social media inspiration, observations, and trial and error. One observation actually I made just in the last few days. I came here a few days before the conference, and I was taking a water taxi from Bird Dubai over to Dira. And a couple of years ago, when I was here in Dubai, I noticed checking in, buying tickets for, I think, Expo 2020. When you buy tickets, it has a special price or something for certain people. And it says people of determination. I think that's people who are in wheelchairs and other things. Yesterday, people talked about, at school, we talked about people with special needs, handicapped people, we have other terms, but I think that's a wonderful term. And it goes, in a sense, back to Stoicism. Too often we, in a sense, think that these people are disadvantaged. And somebody spoke yesterday of some autistic people who have been highly successful. Well, of course they're highly successful. They had to have determination from an early age. They had an advantage over us. They had obstacles. Ryan Holiday has a book, The Obstacle is the Way. Obstacles are the key. Obstacles in life build us. They strengthen us. So that's something I think we need to look at in terms of education. And I got that just by looking at, observing my surroundings, seeing something here in Dubai. In terms of my experience, I have an academic experience, in-class teaching in the US and in Kenya, organic, cross-cultural connectivity activity, exploring and building relationships, and hands-on and heart-on. I've got deep roots in the US and Kenya. I taught school in 1987 and 88 in Western Kenya. That experience changed my life, as I'll come back to. So in 1987, I ventured off to rural Western Kenya to serve as a volunteer teacher. I taught English for 15 months at a school, and this was, of course, pre-internet. It was also pre-cell phones. And actually, fax machines were only just coming out at the time. The school had no electricity, no running water. I met lifelong friends, explored, learned about other cultures. I got out of my so-called comfort zone and into a new comfort zone and discovered or figured out my calling. I went, I think, with a spirit of active curiosity, a generous heart, and a desire to develop a more globally holistic and experiential view of humanity and the world. I found a receptive community, also generous in spirit, with elements of tenderness and openness in the local cultures. That experience, as I said, changed my life. One story here, which I think reflects that. About a month ago, we had an event in North Palm Beach, Florida, and this guy here, Ethan, walked in the door. And Ethan was a volunteer with me in 1987 and 88 in Western Kenya in the program that I went to Kenya with. But we had a month of training beforehand, and about 3 weeks into the training, we were sent off to find our schools. And we had to travel by local transport, what's called matatu at the time, traveling in rural roads. And we were walking down a mud road to my school, and some people came out of their home and they said, "Hey, Jumbo, you don't look like you're from around here. Come in and have a soda." So we went into their home, we had a soda, and I think they, as I recall, served us ugali and sukuma wiki. We chatted, had a nice time, and then went on to my school. And I told that story many times to students while teaching in the last over 20-some years. And I would always ask the students, could you see that happening here in the United States? Somebody who looks different walking down the road, do people say, "Hey, you're a stranger, welcome, come in"? And the universal answer is no. No way, of course not. But the culture in Kenya is different. Strangers are just friends you haven't met, in my view. I returned to the U.S. I was able to leverage my experience in Kenya into launching a career in teaching. Initially middle school, and then mostly I taught high school social studies and history. I've been illuminated in my last 40 years by students, colleagues, and school communities in the U.S. and Kenya. I've advanced on a path of connecting students in the U.S. with students in Kenya and continuing to aim to develop pathways of collaboration. The person on the right, David, with the fish t-shirt, he was a student of mine at the Benjamin School, and he went on a trip to South Africa where I went on an expedition for a month, and he's come back to Kenya many times. In 2002, I founded Kijana Educational Empowerment Initiative in collaboration with others. Our mission is to promote and cultivate youth empowerment through educational development, cross-cultural dialogue, and sustainable and environmentally friendly economic growth among underserved Kenyan school communities and American school communities. So there's three primary components: invest in Kenyan schools, build cross-cultural connections with schools and communities in the U.S., and promote sustainability. 33 years after going to Kenya, and 18 years after starting Kijana, we launched our own Kijana Global Innovation School in January of 2020 in rural Western Kenya in Malusi Village. The key words, of course, being Kijana, which means youth in Kiswahili, global, and innovation. We aim to develop lifelong exploratory learners who care for each other and our planet and the so-called, by Marcus Aurelius, touchstones of goodness: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom, as I will get to again. Let's see. In January of 2020, we opened the school with 15 students. Today we have 209. We have 14 classrooms, an administration building, a multi-purpose presentation room, multiple toilet blocks, a kitchen, a playground, beautiful landscaping, and we are in the process of designing and developing an amazing and unique library and media center with an amphitheater designed primarily by two award-winning international architects from New York in collaboration with a local team. We've hosted numerous visitors from the U.S. and elsewhere, and we aim to be a venue for global connectivity and discovery. This is the vision of the library and media center. Actually, one of the architects was a former student of mine at the Prairie School in Wisconsin in middle school. I taught her in 7th and 8th grade, and now she's offering pro bono support along with her husband, who's also an architect. They've designed this in collaboration with the local team, and we hope to start construction in May. We actually just got a $500,000 pledge from our biggest donors to get this going. Here's just a few more images of, making dreams come true. When I first launched the idea of the school, these were the curricular conceptual ideas I had for our school. So applying global education and problem solving, collaborative thinking, environmental sustainability, hands-on project-based learning in a reflective and rigorous academic setting, global media technology fluency in the creative arts, competition and cooperation, literacy, history and the arts, architecture and learning, and exploration. The last two are really important to me. I feel like schools should be beautiful places. The environment around the school, the buildings, the design should be awesome. That's one of the things I love about coming to this conference. I'm in Dubai. The physical environment is inspiring in itself. So we have murals, we have recycled glass animals, we have art all around the school. So I think students feel empowered when their physical surroundings are powerful. 4 key elements of our school that I think reflect our innovative and hopefully inspirational approach are our Care, Share, and Explore program, the unique and beautiful physical surroundings which blend academic and character development with the arts and environmental education, our emphasis on community connections, and an emerging one that actually I've just started to come up with, which I've referred to, is the Stoicism idea, the touchstones of goodness, courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. There's a lot of talk yesterday about soft skills and how soft skills are really important. And in the previous conference, I think somebody said, I think we should stop using that word soft. And somebody yesterday said soft skills are really hard skills. I agree with that. Soft skills are hard skills. One way maybe we can do that is by saying, let's teach Stoicism. Let's teach the ideas of Marcus Aurelius. To me, that doesn't sound soft. Let's go. And those aren't soft. They're powerful tools that students can use to build themselves and build community. And Stoicism is misinterpreted in the United States, at least. It's not just withstanding tough times. It's so much more complex. I've learned from as I said, learning ecosystems, and learning ecosystems is something that we want to develop at our school as well. Encouraging the idea that we learn from our school, we learn at school, we learn at home, and we learn in the community, and we want to connect to those. Our Care, Share, and Explore program was started a few years ago with a grant from the Wheaton Franciscan Sisters in Wheaton, Illinois. And basically it's taking students out into the environment on exploratory expeditions, even just wandering outside of school, checking things out, looking at nature, getting connected to nature, and then bringing that back into the school learning experience. We've taken students to many places far from the school. We took students on exploratory environmental and team building experiences throughout the country. All students in the school have had the opportunity to travel somewhere, even what we call baby class kids, 3 years old. We've taken students on several trips to central Kenya and an island in Lake Victoria. The experience opened their horizons and expand their minds. A quote at the entrance to the school reads, "A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions." And I believe that. That happened to me. Going to Kenya, after Kenya, my mind didn't go back to what it was before. Secondly, we have, as I mentioned, wonderful collaborative and inspirational art throughout the campus. We have custom-made recycled glass animals from Nanny's Kijana Glass in Nairobi, murals envisioned by me, designed by an artist in Palm Beach County, Claire Salmon, and painted on the walls by a local Kenyan artist, Jesse Otuko. One I am particularly proud of is the Optimus Creed panels on our new junior secondary building. That's on the bottom right there. But check out the, the Optimus Creed as well. It's an inspirational collection of principles about optimism designed originally in the early 1900s, and I only discovered that this year. Thirdly, we're reaching out to the community and many communities through our Care, Share, and Explore program. We've grown and planted close to 1.5 million trees over 2 years in over 35 schools in Western Kenya and Nairobi. Fourth, and this I'm aiming to and in the process of developing more, as I mentioned, is these elements of Stoicism. I don't know how we're going to do it. And actually, I invite some of you experts and consultants who have educational ideas, help me come up with a curricular elements to implement Stoicism in schools. 5 years ago, I just wanted to build a school. I didn't know what it would look like, and here we are. Brian Cox, a noted astrophysicist, has said the big problem at the moment is how to get along as a global society, where there are threats all over. I still think the threat is probably human stupidity, he said. So we in education are called to do the most important job on the planet: teach and inspire intelligence in action. See students deeply, as David Brooks says, and illuminate their creativity, craftsmanship, and hearts to various activities, virtuous activities. And the most challenging thing we need to teach is how to get along. And this, the most important element at present in my mind, is not the specifics of math, science, language, history in an isolated framework or frameworks, but how to get along with others, and that comes from the heart. Those who know how to break down barriers, those who know how to build human bridges of connectivity are the ones we need most, and we need to build up in value. Ultimately, in an increasingly crowded world, which in my view is still stuck on an old and limited framework, we need different core concepts to center education around. These include kindness, collaboration, exploration, sharing, and empathy, and those touchstones of goodness: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. We aim to build teams of students who live life, who are fearless explorers and dreamers with wild imaginations and who care about all others, human, animal, and plant alike, and want to share with other living beings, present and future. Just a few elements of that, or reminders of that. Kindness. Abraham Heschel said, "When I was young, I used to admire intelligent people. As I grew older, I admire kind people." Muhammad Ali said, "The man who has no imagination has no wings." Howard Schultz says, "The success is best when it's shared." We need generous people. Albert Einstein said, "Never give up on big dreams. The person with big dreams is more important than the one with all the facts." We need dreamers. We need to seek and find the goodness in each other, as individuals, as institutions, as nations, and as humanity connected with nature in an increasingly fragile planet and ecosystem. We need to develop schools that create physical and social environments that build students of character who are connected and inspired by, and to strengthen the communities in creative and positive ways. We want our students to be, maybe let's call them community craftsmen or community artists who share and connect hearts and wisdom and grow as their communities grow. Marcus Aurelius said 2,000 years ago, "He has a stronger body than I do, and he is a better wrestler. So what? Is he more generous? Is he more modest? Is he braver and humble?" I say and ask today, he has more wealth than me, or I should say more money. He is more famous than me. He can play professional sports and play them well. So what? Has he connected in more real ways with his or her fellow human beings? Has he contributed something to humanity that will last? Has he or she shared his or her heart and soul in ways that will inspire others? These are some of the questions I want us to ask as we go and inspire our youth, because that is what it's all about: inspiration and illumination. And that's what we are as teachers. We're inspirers, we're illuminators. We are the most important people. We are the goats, as they use a term for, a stupid thing in America, the greatest of all time. They talk about professional athletes. Teachers, educators are the greatest of all time. We shape lives. So being a good and kind human is more important than scoring high on tests, because ultimately we all have to live together and work together and grow. Finally, it's all about caring, sharing, and exploring, I would say. Success is best when it's shared. We want students who care for each other, care for the planet, share themselves, share their ideas, share their resources, and explore. And through exploration, we find and discover new ideas. And that's what we're here doing today. So finally, going back to that 5-year idea, I encourage us all to think, where will we be 5 years from now? What's your dream? What's our dream? Will I be in the same place? I certainly hope I'm not going to be. Will I have grown? How much will I have grown? How will I have grown? Will our school be in the same place? Will I take the easy way or the right way? Going back to Marcus Aurelius. Easy is not good. Challenges, obstacles make us stronger. So that's why I'm here today and for these 3 days, to grow and collaborate and ultimately to be in a better place next year and the year after, and to go on and on through sharing and caring and exploring. And those are the values that I want our students to develop and our teachers and our community. So thank you all very much. It's good to be here again, and look forward to continuing to collaborate the next few days.